Last summer, I undertook a culturally enriching homestay with the sweetest elderly couple in the Japanese wilderness. But there was just one small twist. 1 month running over 1,000 kilometers in the mountains of Nagano, Japan's marathon mecca. 1 house, 40 girls, 1 guy, me. Believe it or not, this isn't the plot for some wacky Japanese anime. I really was living the dream. Well now, 1 year later, I'm returning to that legendary mountain paradise. So the family that I stayed with happened to run an athlete accommodation. So when runners are on their altitude training camps, they stay there. And it also just so happened that it's only actually female teams that stay at this accommodation. So it meant that for the 4 weeks that I was there, I had the pleasure of mingling with about 50 different Japanese elite runners. So as you can imagine, this was by far the greatest time I've had in Japan so far. So I'm planning to link back up with the Suzuki team soon. So the guys that I was with before, I was training with, their summer break will be finished. We'll be heading back to Fujimi. But before then, I have to take a little detour back to Minanohara to see my homestay family and to grind out some miles in the mountains with absolutely no ulterior motive in mind. But anyway, they taught me this word, erabihodai, and this basically means all you can choose. And they were referring to the fact that there's this team of like 30 girls staying there, and they were basically saying I could have my pick of the bunch. So I just about survived that 1 week back in Tokyo. I can't say it was the most enjoyable, going from training with this squad up in the mountains, that cool, fresh countryside air, back to the living hell of summer in the urban jungle. But I actually managed to knock out a decent session. In fact, it was my quickest ever K-rep session. So I managed to do 8 by 1K with 2-minute recovery, sort of 400-meter jog, and average 255 or 254, sort of bang on for all of them, like held it throughout. And for someone that's cripplingly bad in the summer heat, I'd say it was a good shift. I think it was about 35 degrees when I was running that. So to get through it and manage to hit those paces, I was pretty pleased. I think it shows that just those 2 weeks with Suzuki, I've come on a lot, and I was definitely trending in the right direction. Like I had that 10K before in Melbourne, so it was a nightmare of a course, but still managed to pull off a 29:36, I think it was. So just off my PB, but I'd like to think, get me on a track, cold weather, group around, there's got to be a 28 mid maybe on the cards. But it's good to know there's speed there, even though my legs are absolutely cooked. Like when I was on the track, I had no pop whatsoever. Just all those hard tempo runs, the ups and downs on the hills, like smashing out day on day, big mileage as well. Unsurprising, at the end of that, I was tired, but still very promising that I can knock out some solid little track reps, despite Quadzilla being in a wounded state. But I think that Tokyo break was actually quite a nice refresher, because it meant I could take my foot off the gas a little bit. Even though it was hot, the intensity wasn't quite there. Because the easy runs and stuff, I could keep them nice and flat. So I think my legs have actually pulled up quite nicely. A good little refresher before we go again for another big 2-week altitude block. So without any further ado, it's time for round 2 in the mountains. Tokyo, you will not be missed. God, here we are, finally back at the scene of the crime. God, it's crazy. I spent a whole month here, so it's mad nostalgic. Like by the end of it, it did feel like a second home. Pretty cool to be back here. Chill sheep, shout out. What a place. So unfortunately, during my brief stay this time, I didn't overlap with any of the legends from all those teams that I lived with last year. But when I arrived, there was a few staff and one elite female runner from a company team. So pretty much all the coaches and managers for the Japanese teams are ex-athletes. Like one of these guys had won the Hakone Ekiden before. So they're used to a lifetime of 5 AM alarms and have got that classic Japanese training routine on lock. Now, if you stay till later in the vid, you'll see me get back into the action as I get to know a new uni team, all girls of course, who'd moved into the crib. But first, I've got something very serious to address. So, I got a lot of stick recently for my Aussie accent in the Round to Australia series. I can't believe you lot thought my dad's attempt was better than mine when clearly I sounded more bogan than the great Shane Warne. So right now, I'm going to be redeeming myself as the accent guru and taking you on a world tour, which thanks to Aerolo, I can do without ever losing connection. Right, so listen here. Aerolo is an eSIM provider, which means no more faffing about swapping SIM cards. Just download the wee digital one straight to your phone. Oh my goodness, Aeroro is like the Maharaja of mobile, local, regional or global eSIMs, routing connections in over 200 countries. So if you're fixing to travel abroad, then install Aerolo free today. And don't forget to use my code RANTOJAPAN3 to get $3 off your first eSIM. Very nice. Aerolo let me travel from my glorious home village in Kazakhstan to America with no lose of internet. Wow, 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 great success. Using Aerolite down under was an absolute ripper. I had bars in the bush, signal in the surf, and data in the dunny. Download the free Aerolo app today. Use code RANTOJAPAN3 to purchase your eSIM in advance and only activate it once your trip begins. So it's the first run back in the mountains and we've got to make up for lost time. So we're going to be attempting 50k today. Keep it a nice honest pace, like sub 4-minute Ks. We'll see what we end up at. Obviously first day back altitude. It feels nice to get back in that cool air. It's so much better here. Plenty of other runners out as well, so I've got some targets to reel in. So even here at the most popular altitude spot in Japan, there's only really one runnable route on the roads, so everyone ends up hitting that every day. There's also a track and a 2k cross-country course, but for pounding pavements, it's got to be this 6k loop, which by Japanese standards is absolutely monstrous in size. I mean, I only had to do about 8 laps during this run. Well, it's definitely started heating up a bit. Now the sun's popped out. I think it's above 20, so it's not exactly cool. I also don't have any drinks for this run because I'm just hitting it solo. So I've got a few gels in my pocket, but the old dehydration could be an issue later on. So I went for a gel every 10k and then found a water fountain, which I hit a couple times, but it wasn't exactly the optimum hydration strategy. That's the big benefit of training with a squad. If you've got drinks on tap with the support team helping you out, it makes these runs a whole lot easier. So at least I've got that to look forward to when I'm back with the Suzuki lot. Decided to slow the pace a fair bit down. I think I always just forget how much the sun in the summer hits me. Like even here comparatively, yeah, it's cool, but 20 degrees is about 20 degrees too hot for me. Like I can't compare the times I'm hitting in winter on the dead flat Tokyo loop to here. Like it's just gonna be impossible. So when it's like 5 to 10 degrees, I ran a couple 50Ks at like 3:35 per K pace. So just under 3 hours of running. And I'm probably in at least as good shape now, but the summer sun takes no prisoners. And I've had a lot of people asking me about my next target race. Well, because the humid heat drags on so long here, there's absolutely no chance of PBing till November at the earliest. So at the moment, I'm just building that huge base for winter now. There'll be plenty of training races though coming up soon, because you know I can't resist a good bit of competition and chasing those elusive race dubs here in Japan. So I'm now over 2 hours 20 of running, so longer than I'd ever run in a marathon. And that's just a classic over distance training, making the marathon beg for mercy, making the distance fear me. If I can do it in training and go way beyond that 220 mark, then hopefully in a marathon, 2 hours 10, yeah, a little walk in the park. And I want to push these long runs a bit further soon, like 60, 70k maybe, to get a good 4 hours of time on feet and build a weaponly aerobic engine. I'm just trying to follow in the footsteps of my unofficial coaches, Seko-san and the Soul Brothers, who casually knocked out 125k jogs, jog being 4-minute flat pace, during their summer blocks. Right, I'm in the final 5k. It's now just a massive climb, literally 5k, non-stop, uphill. But this is where marathon monks are made or broken, and it doesn't matter how steep that mountain climb gets, Quadzilla will prevail. Oh. 50k done. That last 5k, an absolute joke, but overall 50k, 3 hours and 15 minutes, 3:55 average, so very solid shift. And I'd say that's the perfect way to kickstart any training block. Now let's talk scran. So on days like this, I'm burning over 6,000 calories. I mean, obviously I still had to get out for a 12k shakeout in the afternoon after this, because those double days are a non-negotiable. But what makes it a little bit tough while staying at this place is that the portions are carefully tailored to 40 kg female runners who are putting in half the mileage I am. And actually last year I lost 5 kg while staying here. So I guess that's one way to get shredded, but I tried to just smash a few extra bowls of rice after every meal to top up the tank. But now let's check out the local area a little bit more. See, it looks like a grey, depressing day, a bit like being back home in England, but it's mad. We're actually just bang in the middle of the clouds, so it's 1,500 metres or so. That's the altitude of Minanohara, and it means that in the mornings and evenings, once the sun's kind of dropped down a little bit, you get this cloud cover, even though it's a sunny evening. But yeah, it's a pretty cool vibe here. It's just so sort of remote, like nothing else going on. I remember when I was staying here for my homestay before, the nearest convenience store was 5 kilometers away, so I'd have to run there during some of my runs, stash my pockets with a whole load of snacks and stuff, and then run back up the mountain. Because that's the thing, all the running courses are down below, like a few hundred meters drop down, so it means you got to do 5k on the way down, not too bad, but then 5k back up. Jeez, I put in some outrageous elevation gain. I think one of those weeks I hit like a 280k week, 5,000 meters of climbing. So that was worth at least a 400k week, I reckon. Like the toll it puts on your body is crazy, but great strength training. I felt like an absolute machine by the end of it. So hopefully it'll be the same. This is just a mini little stint. I've only got about 5 days or so here, but it's a proper nostalgic trip because last year was just unreal. It's gonna be near impossible to top 4 weeks, but at least I can get a little taster once again. Now, after a couple days of hammering those hills, the thunder thighs were severely crippled. I've just finished up a little morning jog shakeout, but my quads, I cannot describe the pain. It's like every single step is just crippling agony. It's like post-marathon. That's the only time I can think it's that bad, and it does always ease up. But yeah, from this, it's just because of the downhill. So that 50k, I could run uphill all day. I mean, yeah, it's hard, but the actual muscle damage, it's not that bad at all. Whereas as soon as you try and run fast downhill, I realized I'd done over 100k of running in the last 2 days. So yeah, I guess it's unsurprising that my legs have got a little bit of damage. But right now I'm trying to pull out all the stops. So my morning run today, up here in the mountains, there's virtually no flat. I had to do my whole hour-long run around a 500-meter loop. So just to keep it dead flat, 'cause it's the only place you can avoid the downs here. Then I've also just been smashing in with the massage gun, trying to, I don't know, flush out some of that shit that's just sat in there, all the blood that's pooling up in the thighs. I found some little gel as well. This is meant to be a pain reliever, so I've just covered my legs and nose. But it's just trying to survive today. Today's my recovery day, so I've got to somehow bring the legs back in time for the track session tomorrow. But first, it's time to train haram, not smarter, as one of my Strava followers put it. As I link up with my new housemates, the Kyoto Koka Women's University team. Got a big session now. I'm going to be going with the uni girls, so they're staying at the house that I'm at. They kindly invited me to join in with them, so it's always good fun. We've got a little 16k, I think it's sort of 4:30 pace, but right now, if how tired my legs are, I think even that could be a struggle. So I have to just hang in there, sit in the pack. So as with all Japanese groups, this was done in dead silence, military formation and perfect pacing, with the coaches taking splits every 1k on this meter wheel measured course. It doesn't get more calculated than that. Actually, every run, whether it's easy or hard, is tracked to the second. Of course, these girls are doubling every day, so even for their early morning jog, which is usually done around that 500-meter grass track, each 500-meter split for every runner is recorded and noted down. Then they have a mini meeting with the coach at the end of each run to give a debrief and get feedback. And then later, their training diaries with every aspect of the running day accounted for are checked off by the coaches in the evenings. So yeah, it's slightly different from the British uni style of rock up late, have a chat with your mates while knocking out a few miles, then grab a takeaway and hit the pub for the real sesh. So we kept rolling away at this even pace for 14k, then the last 2k were called free, so the reins were taken off and everyone could pick up to their own pace for the final 2k. One of the girls called Yuna decided to kick on, so I thought I'd do what I do best here in Japan, act as a windshield. I've had plenty of practice of this in every race since I'm an absolute unit compared to these Japanese guys, so they love to just sit on for a free ride. お疲れ様です。どうでしたか？きつかった。そう、すごいペース。4分ぐらいですね。すげえ。 Now, I added a pic on my Strava for this run with my new squad, and the comment section did not disappoint. I think this might have taken the title for the funniest I've ever seen. Some absolute gems in there. So well played, you lot are top class bands. But just when I'd finally been accepted into a Japanese team, alas, my new squad were heading back to Kyoto. The ones that got away, eh? But in the next video, I'm upping the levels just a touch as I link up with some world-class middle distance runners, including an Olympian over 1500 meters. So that could get messy. But it's been legendary staying with my homestay family again. And if you're ever in Japan and want to escape the cities to a mountain monastery, then their accommodation is actually on booking.com now. So you can also live this anime storyline too. But until next time, this has been Jake with Ran to Japan. I'll catch you in the next one. Remember, train harder, not smarter.